Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. So I want to start off this video by saying a special welcome to those of you that are new subscribers here. I know a lot of you have come over recently from Stephanie Marie's channel, and I just want to say welcome. I am so happy that each and every one of you are here. And of course, I also want to send a huge thank you to the wonderful Stephanie Marie here on YouTube. She recently gave my channel a big shout out, which was such a sweet thing for her to do. Honestly, it took me by complete surprise and really just meant the world to me. So I appreciate it so much, Stephanie. I hope that you know from the bottom of my heart that I truly am so grateful, and really it just means the world to me. And all of the wonderful sweet comments I've gotten from so many of you guys today. I've had like the best day ever. I feel so much love and support from complete strangers, which I think is such an awesome thing. So I'm gonna stop gushing and we'll go ahead and get into today's video. So I am really excited about this one because I want to start this as kind of a regular theme or series, if you will, here on my channel, and I'm calling it something old and something new. Basically, this is just where I feature two different products. I mean, I'm definitely going to be using more than two products, but I feature something that is new, or new at least to my collection, that I'm just really excited about. And then I also feature something that is old for my collection, an old favorite that I feel like maybe has been neglected, that I need to show some love. So my goal in creating this video is two things. One, I mean, who doesn't love talking about new makeup? And also, I just want to remind myself, and maybe those of you out there that kind of sometimes feel overwhelmed with all the makeup releases that are constantly coming out, it's just good to be reminded that there are some fantastic products that we have bought in the past that sometimes we just forget about because we're constantly distracted by newer and bigger and better. So I think it's a good reminder to just enjoy the makeup that we have. Sometimes we don't need to buy everything that's new. I'm not going to get on some soapbox about this, but let's just go ahead and jump into today's video. This is the makeup look that I am going to be creating today with a product that is new to me and also one of my old favorites. So the new product that I am featuring today is actually just new to me. This has actually been around for a little while, so some of you may not be very excited about this, but I am so excited about this. This is an eyeshadow palette by Makeup Revolution. If you guys have watched my other videos, I did do a review on the other pink toned, I think it was called the Vitality palette. I loved that palette. But guys, I have been meaning to get a hold of this one for a long time. I finally picked it up and I am so excited about this one. I've actually had it for about a month now, but I've been saving it for the fall because if you cannot tell, these colors scream fall to me. Truly, when I look at this palette, if I could have a sweater in every single color in this palette, I would be the happiest girl in the world. I just think these are the most beautiful colors. I have a look in mind that I really want to create with this, so we are going to do that today with this palette. As for the old product that we're going to be talking about today, it is the Essence Pure Nude Highlighter. I know that this is probably not new to any of you. In fact, I would be willing to bet that many of you have this same highlighter in your collection. I have just not used this. I've really kind of been testing out a lot of different highlighters lately, and I just kind of forgot about this one. I recently pulled it out of the lonely back corner of my drawer, and I felt like I needed to feature it today. So we are going to use this as well. So let's go ahead and get started on today's makeup look. I have already applied quite a bit of my makeup. Hopefully you can probably kind of tell. I don't wake up looking like this. For foundation today, I went in with a concoction of the e.l.f. Flawless Finish Foundation in the shade Porcelain, and then also the Maybelline Super Stay Foundation in the color 128 Warm Nude. I don't know about you guys, but it's almost impossible for me to find a perfect shade match for me in pretty much any drugstore foundation, so I almost always will concoct some sort of mixture to get my perfect shade, and I find that this works really well for me. Then for my concealer today, I went in with my Maybelline Age Rewind concealer and applied that all on top of my eyelids and also underneath my eyes. I then went in with a touch of my Maybelline Fit Me concealer and just applied that to a few blemishes that I had around my face. And then I did powder a little bit with my Rimmel Stay Matte, just kind of on my cheek area and then on top of my eyelids. Then I went in with my bronzer, which was the ColourPop Private Party bronzer. And then last but not least was my brows, but I did go in with my Maybelline Total Temptation pencil in the color Blonde and topped that with my e.l.f. brow wax. Alright, so now I want to jump straight into the eyes because guys, I have a lot of things to say about this palette. Alright guys, so I've gone ahead and zoomed you in just a bit. We're going to get started on the eyes. So again, this palette, I've been loving it for the last month and I've been wanting to mention it on my channel. In fact, I wanted to put it in this month's favorites video along with my Urban Decay one. But I wanted to wait till this video because I knew I was saving this palette for this video idea. I can't tell you guys how much I love this palette. It really, for a drugstore price, honestly, if you love fall colors, you love like just very like earthy type of colors, you guys would love this. It's such a beautiful palette. I know that a lot of people, when this first came out, a lot of people were comparing this color story to the Subculture palette by Anastasia. I've never tried the Anastasia palette, so I am not here to give any sort of comparison to that palette today. But I will say that that Subculture palette definitely turned my eye when it released. Was that last year? I think it was last year. And but when I heard all like the controversy and people saying maybe it wasn't the best quality, it definitely scared me away from purchasing that palette. But when this came out, I feel like this was a perfect opportunity for me to kind of jump into these colors. But it took me months to get a hold of this palette in my local Ulta. I could have ordered it online, but my Ulta store was out of stock with this palette for like 8 months, and I finally picked it up late summer, like in August, and I cannot wait to share this with you guys today. So today we are going to create one of my favorite looks from this palette using a couple of the colors that inspire me, including this yellow shade, which I know I just did a video from the e.l.f. palette using this yellow shade, but I just am really into mustard yellows lately. So I'm going to start off by taking this kind of flesh toned color right here, and I'm going to just take that on my Alamar Cosmetics blending brush and just really buff that into my upper crease, kind of slightly above my crease actually, because I want everything to blend upwards. You guys know I have a very large brow bone, and I really like to put my crease like transition colors up onto my brow bone. Okay, then on that same brush I'm going to take this mustard color right here and a little bit lower, more kind of right into my crease, and a little bit above. I'm going to really try and build up this mustard color right there. This one definitely takes a little bit of building, especially if I'm pairing it with the other shade. If you really want intense yellow color, I would recommend going straight in with this color on top of your either primer or your concealer, whatever you use to kind of prep your eyelids. And you'll definitely get more of the yellow kind of payoff from this color. Hopefully that's picking up on camera, just the, I don't know you guys, I just really am into this yellow transition color. I don't know, I feel like transition shades are one of those things a lot, at least I shouldn't say a lot of us, I have no idea, but I specifically don't think about. I think just like grab a transition shade, don't really think about it, just take something neutral and pop it into your crease area, and then I think about my eye look. I don't really think about like, what could I put in my transition today? I just kind of throw something in there, and usually it's about the same color every single time. So this I feel like is kind of a fun change. Okay, so everything looks nice and blended. So now we're going to start kind of building up some of that green color into the crease area. So I'm going to start off by going in with this color right here, which is kind of the khaki green in this palette. And I'm just going to take that on a MAC 217 brush. And we're really going to kind of pat quite a bit into the brush and just kind of start applying that right into my crease. This is another shade that it really requires a little bit of buildup. You can see it kind of like blends into the colors above it, but it actually makes for the perfect transition to some of the darker greens in here. So I'm always talking about my very large, heavy brow bone. So I have this, like, I just have a very bony brow bone. So I always like to take my like first deeper transition shade and pop it right onto like the underside of this brow bone, but a little bit higher. So most of these colors I'm pulling right into my crease, but when I get to this part of my brow bone that I'm wanting to diminish, I just kind of pull it up just a little bit to make that part of my eye just appear a tiny bit smaller. Do you see how right here it's just so large, and this one hopefully maybe looks a little smaller? I hope. I feel like that works. It could be just in my mind, but I definitely feel like that really helps. So the thing about the Makeup Revolution eyeshadows is they are definitely not super like pow in your face kind of pigmented. They're pigmented, but they definitely require a little bit of patience. They require some buildup. Say my Soft Glam palette, like that palette, I can pop a bit of like orange soda in my crease in 1 second, and then I can pop like a little bit of the like a medium brown into my crease, and then take a shimmery shade and just with my finger swipe it on my lid, and I have a perfect eye look in about 13 seconds. You definitely can't do that with these shadows. You can get a really beautiful look, but it's going to take a little bit more time. But seriously, trust me guys, these are really beautiful. Hopefully by the end of this look, I will prove that point to you. That always makes me nervous. Sometimes I feel like I have this like great makeup look that I just randomly come up with one day, and then when you try to recreate it, sometimes it's never quite as good the second time. Does that ever happen to any of you guys? It definitely happens to me a lot. So I'm going to stop right there with that shade. Now we're going to go in and we're going to take this very dark kind of teal shade. So this one we're going to also take on that 217 brush, but I've only applied it on the very tip of this brush. And I'm just really softly going to like deepen up that very corner right there. You certainly could do this part with a smaller, kind of more detailed brush. I just find it's easy for me to use the same brush. I just wipe it off first and make sure that I just use the very lightest of hands. So now that I've kind of built up depth in that outer corner, you'll see it's not super well blended. We're going to kind of now just start to drag that in a little bit. I'm not too concerned about how well it's blended right here because we are going to put a lid shade that's going to kind of creep over to that area. So we'll kind of worry about blending that a little bit later. But I'm just going to kind of pull that in just a little bit so that it's a little bit more diffused. Okay, so while I finish blending, quick question for you guys. What is your favorite fall movie? Do any of you guys get excited about specific movies that remind you of the fall? I would be very curious to know. So mine would probably have to be, I have a couple of them. One of them would be Harry Potter. I mean, any Harry Potter, truly. I just particularly like the early Harry Potters. I love Harry Potter movies. Like, they are one of my comfort movies that I've watched millions of times over and over again, and I'll put them on as kind of background noise. But funny fact about me, one of my probably top 3 favorite movies of all time is the original Home Alone. I love Home Alone. It seriously has such a special place in my heart. I know it's a cheesy movie. I know it's super old. And we have to be very clear, only the first one. The other ones are shamefully terrible, but the day after Halloween, I will be watching Home Alone probably multiple times before Christmas gets here because it is one of my favorite movies ever, and I love that I can't feel like I can't watch it during the summer, which I think is what makes it kind of extra special to me, is because I can't just put it on anytime. It's one of those movies I've got to wait to watch. Okay guys, so now we are ready to go in with the star of the show, which is this little shade right here. Now, I want to mention something about this shade really quickly. So the first time I used this, I tried going in with a brush just because I wasn't sure the potential that this shade had, or just really what type of shimmer this was. So I went in with a brush and found that it did nothing. Literally nothing came off on my brush, and so I didn't really think much of it. So then I was like, okay, I've got to use my finger for this shade. So I went in with my finger, and I was still kind of like, what the heck? There's hardly anything on there, a few flecks of glitter. So initially I thought, okay, this is the dud shade in the palette. But I stuck with it, and I continued to just really press my finger into there and layer after layer build that up onto my lid. And what I discovered is after about 3 or 4 or 5 layers and swipes of patting that and swiping it onto my lid, it gave me the most beautiful, a wet looking lid, but that was still kind of chunky glitter in a beautiful way, not in a crumbly or dry and crusty way. It looked so beautiful on my eyelids. So I am really hoping that I can show this shade off for you guys today. I'm going to take my finger because I do think it just works better and gives you the best texture from this eyeshadow if you just use your finger. So that's 2 layers right there. Sorry guys, my kids are upstairs playing hide and seek or something. It's 8 o'clock at night. It's a school night. I need to get back up there and put them all to bed, but I'm down here playing with makeup instead. This is so much funner. So hopefully you guys can see kind of what that is starting to do. It's really, really starting to pick up on the reflective factor. Oh my gosh, and that it has that kind of greeny yellow that really ties in those 2 colors. Oh guys, I love this look. It's such a fun, different look than what I typically do, and I don't know. So the formula of this, actually, if you really press into it, it feels a little spongy, kind of like a ColourPop formula would feel, but it's not as soft as a ColourPop. So it's like a hardened version of a ColourPop Super Shock, one of their potted eyeshadows, the Super Shock shadows. How sparkly that is. Seriously guys, it's so sparkly and beautiful. Can you see that? Oh my gosh. $7 palette. I just can't like get over my excitement about this $7 gem from the drugstore. I can't say enough good things about this palette, and I really need to stop and move on. So let's go ahead and finish up with the lower lash line. So I'm going to start by taking this yellow shade right here. I'm going to wipe off my 217 brush and take that yellow shade and really kind of pop that on my lower lash line, almost my crease area down there. I really want to get this kind of low. And if you are not into the yellow on the lower lash line, I feel like that is a little bit more bold and maybe editorial. I would probably just stick with the darker of the teal shades and kind of connect that halfway across on the lower lash line. That's really what I typically will do with this look if I'm wearing it out and about. But I just thought this would be kind of fun and different. Hopefully it turns out okay. First, I'm going to go in with this shade right here. I know we didn't use this one yet, but I feel like this is like, if I was to combine these two shades, I would get this shade. And so I'm going to take that and run it like halfway across, just right up next to my lash line. Any baseball fans out there, today is the first day of postseason. Super excited. The Dodgers made it in. We are big Dodgers fans in our family, so we are excited that one of our teams made it in this year. In fact, I think they are the only team that made it in this year that is one of our teams. Okay, so I'm going to take this flat liner brush and I'm just going to pop that very dark color right at the outer corner, kind of just the outer third, and just really kind of connect that. Okay, so that is the finished eye look. So I am going to go ahead and pop on a little bit of just brown liner. I'm just going to put this in my waterline. This one is by Catrice. This is their Kohl Kajal in the dark brown color. It's called Chalk Waves. Then I'm going to pop on a couple of coats of my Essence Volume Stylist, and then I will be right back. Alright guys, so there it is with liner and lashes. I hope that you guys can really see the beauty that is this eyeshadow. I think it is so pretty. So before we finish up with the face, I'm going to just pop on some lip liner. This is MAC's Whirl. Then I'm going to go in with a lipstick. This one is in the color Daringly Nude, which is a matte lipstick from Maybelline. And then I'm going to pop a little bit of lip gloss. This is the Butter Gloss in Creme Brulee. So I'm going to apply just a little bit of blush. I'm going to take the Milani Rose shaped blush. This is in the color Tea Rose. A bit of a warm pink, I would call this. It's definitely a pink blush, but it does have a touch of warmth to it. It's not like a super cool toned pink. So last but certainly not least, we are going in with my oldie for today's video. This is the Essence Pure Nude Highlighter. Here's the problem with this one, and one of the reasons I think I have not been reaching for it lately is because my lid broke off. Does anybody else have a tendency to, when you have, especially drugstore packaging, which I know is kind of notorious for having this situation happen to, but if I have a product that breaks like that on me, I tend to just kind of stop using it. And not because I don't want to, because I have other products that I can use, I just don't want to fuss with having to deal with a broken lid. So I think that is what happened with me and my Essence Pure Nude Highlighter, but I feel like I need to pull it back out despite its broken lid and give it some love today. So I'm just going to take, this is my Luxie tapered highlight brush, and we're just going to start building up some glow. Yeah, but hopefully you guys can see that. Isn't that just so beautiful? Alright you guys, so that completes today's something old, something new makeup look. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you guys have tried out this eyeshadow palette. I'd love to know if you guys love it as much as I do, because I feel like nobody talks about this thing anymore, and I just am kind of like in love with it. Also, do you guys still love this highlighter? Like maybe you have this buried in the back of your drawer and you need to show it some love too. Definitely, I mean seriously guys, look at that highlight. So beautiful, so affordable. If you haven't tried this thing, I definitely recommend it. Thank you guys so much for stopping by my channel. I really appreciate you guys watching today. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, I hope that you'll hit that subscribe button. Again, thank you guys for joining me today, and I will see you all very soon. Bye. Go into my something old highlighter. What? Gotta be glowy for when I tuck my kids in to bed tonight. Just kidding. They would probably be like, Mom, what's wrong with your cheeks? Why is there glitter on your cheeks? Seriously, it's like the look my kids give me when I have a dark lip color on and they give me the look. They're just like so honest.